All right, welcome back. It is knife day, and I know that looks like it's from Blade HQ, and I suppose technically it probably is, but not when it's been forwarded to me in a Blade HQ box. That's the Demko AD20.5. Doing the job today, just the regular Gregory Os 10A. Let me just take this off screen, make sure there's no private information in here. Tactical peanuts for effect. All right, Demko AD20S. One I've been trying to get back into the collection since I was so generous to let my good friend, not at the time, but since, buy it from me, a day glow. I gave up a custom Magna Cut day glow from like Blade Show 2021 or something like that. And I've not been like my biggest regret on knife sales, but had moderate regret on knife sale. This is interesting. This is a new package. Maybe this was in this package. I bet that's probably what it was, is that if I had to guess, this package was around that, but I don't know. And there it is, the magical G10 that is Dayglow. And if you picked up on it, this is my first slicer shark. So I'm very excited to check out this new blade shape. I actually noticed right away the feel in the hand of this knife is different. So that blade stock thickness, I believe, let me pull over a drop point real quick. Is it the same? Gosh, this thing just feels different in hand from what I'm used to. Guess it's pretty similar. Interesting. All right, so I think these are two of the cooler colors available right now. And you know what, let's just pull out all the wild colors, why don't we? Just make it a little wild color party over here. This is the new Dayglow Slicer Shark. Natural G10 drop point. And Slicer, what did someone just tell me this was? Slicer Shark. Slicer Shark Peanut Shark Foot. I don't know. I'm losing track of these names at this point. That's a pretty wild bunch of knife handles right there. I got one more to throw in here. I think that'd be fun to add in. Where is it? And these represent a lot of the recent releases from Demko, which is kind of cool. All three of, let's see. These 1, 2, 3 are M4. No, this one's XHP. What do we got? XHP, M4, LMAX, M4. They're getting pretty varietal on the, they've always been pretty varietal on the blade steels, I guess. So, all right, what do we got? What's going on here with these blades? We got different jimping. So the jimping's the same on these two, and they both kind of go down a little bit. This one's different. Look at that. Those two have different style jimping on them. Demko, man, they keep you on your toes. All right, let's move this guy up. I'm really curious too about these blade shapes, how different they are. I'd call this one, so they call it the Slicer Shark. I'm trying to decide if it's not quite a spear point, is it? One of the things I try to do to figure out if it's a spear point is kind of point it away from me and just see how equal it is. It's not quite equal. You can see this hump here is slightly different shape than on the other side. But you can see how much easier that is to tell. When you're like this, it's pretty hard to tell. I guess you can tell. It's kind of like a modified drop point. I heard on the Demko Facebook group, they did like a live chat thing with the Demko brothers and the team over there. And they talked about this shape and why they kind of like it. And they said it's between the drop point and the shark foot, which I totally get, right? You see this point is lower down, right? It ends lower, not quite this low, but lower than that. It's kind of an in-between. So it's a pretty cool knife. You still get a point if you need one. So it still acts as a self-defense system if you need it to, or tool, or whatever you want to call it. But it, gosh, it really is an in-between. You can see this slot on it too is a little bigger than the drop point. So it's kind of got a little bit of a peanut going there. And then you get that little drop down there that you get on these guys. It's not obviously as big of a peanut, but the front side of it's pretty similar to this one. Pretty cool. They're really starting to mix it up, right? Versus the, I guess I don't have like a regular shark foot handy, but I should at some point here. Let's pull out a regular shark foot. We should have one of those out here for this. Shark foot. Oh, I got the natural D10 one also. It's perfect. Keep it wild. All right. The regular shark foot. So these two are kind of playing. That's sort of the original two blade shapes, and then these are the two new blade shapes. I'm just taking it in a little bit. I really do like the day glow. I'm glad to have one back. That's been something I felt like was missing from my Demko collection. I haven't really seen another maker nail this color this well, and I'll do some. I'll make sure and get this out in some additional videos that I do during the day, because it does not do it justice to show it at night. Let me find my flashlight. Freaking desk is a mess right now. I have been busy. Where did my flashlight go? Should be like right here. But I'm going to try and backlight it for you. If I can find my flashlight. I don't know where it went. I guess I'm not going to backlight it for you. But it's kind of fun when you do with both these colors, actually. This natural color is fun to backlight also. Just get this in hand. And one of the things I was curious about was how the thickness is maintained at the end of the blade versus on the drop point. It's pretty similar still. It's definitely a little, oh, look at that, it's shorter. Didn't catch that. So that's a shorter blade than the drop point. It's probably about the same length as this guy then. No, this is even shorter. I didn't realize that the drop point was that much longer than this guy. That's a really big difference. Interesting. But yeah, that thing really pops and lights up during the day. So I like this blade shape. Choke up's really nice on it because it's got that fossa, if you will, the little indentation here. It's not as extreme as it is on this one. It's close though, but it feels really nice choked up like that. Draw cuts feel nice, but you got a pretty good amount of length there. One of the nice things about the shorter blade on this guy is the draw cut is just Like these two positions are just, you feel so in control. You can see how close my finger is to the tip of the blade, even though it's a fairly big knife. You know, with this guy, I still have a pretty long distance there. It may not look like that big of a difference, but you can really feel the difference in control and stuff based on how far the point dips down, as well as the distance from your finger when you're in this position doing a draw cut. I'm sure it does it just fine. I'm sure it actually does it quite a bit better than this guy. This one definitely has a really great, you know, nice flat edge. I like the nice flat edge on this versus there's a pretty round belly on this guy. See if I can show you that difference. I guess it actually, I mean, you can see it's definitely rounder here, right? These are all things I observe when it comes to these little, they seem like small changes, but they're actually pretty different in how you end up feeling like the performance of the knife is, or the deflection of a blade through things and slipping off target when you're making cuts. But these are all really cool and effective blade shapes to me. Like each one has its own role that's better than the other. But it's hard to argue that that one's not the best of both worlds. That Slicer Shark really, you could see how it plays an amazing role, huge cutting length, and very, I mean, better, it's a better self-defense shape than that, arguably. There are not a lot of things you can do with that better than that from a self-defense. This is much pointier at the end. Like, at the end of the day, self-defense, you're mostly stabbing, unfortunately. I'm not going to get into it, but that's the majority of what you end up doing. You can certainly slice and whatnot, but without getting into something I'm not expert on, you can see why that would be a really good self-defense shape. But still, again, the tip of the blades drop down further, so you could do more of the utility cuts and whatnot better than on a traditional drop point. But I do think, you know, a drop point's one of the best blade shapes out there. What I will say, though, is that every drop point's not made equal. You can see, for instance, the shape of this drop point on the Benchmade bug out is quite different than the shape. Now, it's similar. It's fairly similar, right? But because of the length, maybe I feel like the way you use it is different, or maybe it's this ramp at the end is pretty extreme. But this one always seemed like a little more preferable to me to the Demko drop point. I love the Demko drop points, don't get me wrong, but I'm getting into the detailed nuances of my knife obsession here. So yeah, this is a really interesting knife. Really good to get the day glow. Really excited to have another one in M4. That's my second one in M4. And really excited to get my first Slicer Shark. It's a little bit of a mouthful. Nice knife. Love the tumbled finish on the blade from Demko. They just do a great job on that. Beautiful knife. Thank you to the seller for making this one happen. Seemed like a really good couple that I got to talk to about buying this one. And excited to have it in the collection. So I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I'm going to be doing some more extensive weight tests and everything. We'll do a quick one real quick, but I think I'm due for an updated kind of AD20S video. So let's do one quick weigh-in here across some of these models and just see what kind of variation we see. All of these will be sub 7 ounces, so I can use my more sensitive scale here. Okay, so we'll just start with the most traditional, the drop point. Oop, I think I just grabbed a shark foot. The traditional shark foot, 5.27. The traditional drop point, 5.45, definitely more blade there. The new Slicer shark foot, 5.12, quite a bit less without that thumb stud. I'm gonna throw the other one on there just for fun to see if any difference. That's a pretty big difference, actually. This is the M4 one. You can see the jimping's different, the blade steel's different. I don't know exactly what kind of variation they target, but that's, you know, 1/10 of an ounce. I don't know if that's, you know, what all that's attributed to be honest. So interesting though. And then here's the new Slicer Shark 5.41. So back up to a fairly similar weight to the drop point, 5.45. So you see a little bit of variation there, right? Like what was this the latest one? 5.12. It's like a quarter ounce less than 5.45. So 0.3 ounces. Not a world of difference. You probably wouldn't notice the difference in your pocket, but if you're, you know, fighting for every ounce or whatever, every gram, this might be a good one for you for the AD20S, or you might go, you know, AD20.5. I've been meaning to check the difference. Here's my old AD20.5 Grivery, 3.51. So you can see you can really shed some weight there, almost an ounce less. 3.63 on the G10. So about 1/10 of an ounce there. That's actually not bad for Grivery to G10 actually. So a little fun with weigh-ins, little weight weenie session there. Not too much to report there. Obviously, you got to make some decisions for yourself on things like M4 versus LMAX versus, I think this one's S45VN, S45VN versus LMAX. Oh, I said LMAX. I meant XHP. This one's XHP. And another one here in M4. So, you know, do you want edge retention? Go M4. Do you want stainlessness? Here, you gotta go figure those types of things out. Knifeinformer.com has the best, one of my favorite comparisons of the different blade steels. It just makes it really simple to figure out what you want to prioritize. So hopefully that helps. All right, so all for now. Excited to have that one. Obviously, I can talk about a cool one like this all day, so I'll shut myself down. But please like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you didn't see here. I feel like there's some more Demko videos coming up at some point. And I've got a whole bunch of AD20.5s coming in tomorrow, so that's super exciting. We'll be really getting into those G10 AD20.5s and looking at all the detailed differences. But I will call it for now. Take care.